Hey everybody, this is Butt Sanchez, the only YouTuber that made you realize you never had better time on YouTube, until now. And now that we go into the ship that was from the outside just as big as Benjamin, but when you go inside it pulls a whole Harry Potter where the inside is much bigger than the outside, we'll go through Mac's ship, which is actually probably my favorite dungeon in the game, but it's also unfortunately the shortest dungeon in the game. It also does not contain a boss of any kind. So I kept a single fight in Mac's ship in here just to show off the battle background of it because you're on the ship, and I always like the battle background for the ship. It's kind of cool. When you go below deck, it's a lot less cool because you have like boxes stacked in the background on where the water should be. But for the most part, for this ship, all you have to do is if you know how that you can climb on the mast, which the game doesn't really telegraph that, so you kind of wander around the ship wondering, well, how do I get over here? And then eventually you'll be like, oh, I can climb it using Dragon Claw. You can't climb up that way, of course, but you can climb up over here. Keep in mind, it's a 2D game. It looks like you could go there, but that's actually the top of a different mast. You have to take the rope over to the other mast. Just simply go left, kill the Dallahan clone, grab the heal potions if you so choose, and then go down the stairs. Before you know it, you're at the very end of Mac's ship, and you also get the best armor in the game, which, looking at that armor, I forgot to write it down in my book here, but I guess it doesn't really matter too much. We can just figure out what it does for the most part. But that's just shortly after here. We just have to, cure Ruben here. If you forgot, I got Ruben. And there we are at the end of Mac's ship already. So we got Gaia's armor, which is the best armor in the game. It doesn't, let's see, what does it do differently? It looks like it protects against wind and sleep status, which is great compared to the other one. I don't have the stats for what else it does for defense and evasion, but that doesn't really matter in this game, now does it? One thing I forgot to mention was, in Pazuzu's Tower, if you ever watch a speed run of that game, you never know if you have a world record run until you get to Pazuzu's Tower, like I was saying, because Pazuzu will spawn on floors 2 through 6, I think it is, so you have no clue what floor he'll spawn on. Maybe it's the floors 2 through 5, I don't remember, but if you ever watch like a speed run, you'll just never know what's happening, or like a live stream speed run of it. What's fun to watch, if you ever watch like a 4-way race of Mystic Quest, it's going to be pretty much neck and neck until Pazuzu's Tower. And then once everyone gets to Pazuzu's Tower, they may be like a minute apart, but someone will probably have like good luck and have like a good like Pazuzu placement. Other person that may have the bad Pazuzu placement, which takes an extra 15 minutes to get through if you get the bad placement. Basically what I'm trying to say is it's neck and neck until everyone gets to Pazuzu's Tower, and then no one knows who's winning at that point. Anyway, we have to go over here and here's some really good dialogue here from Phoebe. Off to bed with you, she says. And I think even Benjamin says something stupid like, it's off to bed for you, or whatever he says. I forgot what he says, but maybe it's Phoebe that only says it, but, just some great writing in this game. Just, you get hurt, off to bed you go, blah, 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 blah. So I go to the inn here to find out that Ruben's up here. If you touch him, he says, don't touch me, basically. And then you go talk to Captain Mac over here. He doesn't really say much besides the prophecy and how to use his ship. Just go behind the wheel of the ship, or the helm of the ship technically, and then press A, and you should be able to go to the next area in the game, the world, which is the bottom of the focus tower. So that's always kind of fun. Anyway, there's Kaylee. They're just kind of, minding her own business. So we're going to just leave the town here and go straight to the ship, which I'm just going to do an edit here, just, actually what I'm going to do here is save and then restart the game, because I want to make sure Phoebe doesn't have any status bugs from that status bug glitch. If you know what I'm talking about from previous videos, that's the only reason why I reset the game after getting a new partner. So right after that, we're going to go right back into Windia. I'm going to edit out the part. Whoops, I didn't mean to go to Pazuzu's Tower. I really want to go back to Pazuzu's Tower. Edit out the part where I kind of traverse through the town, just go right back to the ship. Again, Benjamin's as big as the ship. And then he does a whole Harry Potter, and then the ship's a lot bigger than he is. Like 100-fold. Anyway, we'll just kind of take the ship to the focus tower over here, be on our merry way, and go through the next and last dungeon in the game, which is Doom Castle. Doom Castle probably has the best theme in the game, as it should, because it's the last dungeon in the game. And I'm not really sure what I was doing. I was dead. Oh, I can use exit to get out of here, so why walk out when you can exit? Now, you remember this room. This is where we actually got the arrow spell just directly to the right of the entrance there, but that's whatever. I will not be showing off any of the random encounter fights because they're really not that worthwhile to show. I will show off the boss fights because, well, you have to fight them to progress. I don't think you have to fight the Skullorus Rex. You can probably just walk past him. I didn't really test it. Doesn't really matter that much. I can, I mean, you'll see how I kill him. I won't spoil how I kill him. It's actually kind of humorous how you kill him, but that's whatever. Now, if I had to say about Doom Castle, it's probably more puzzle-oriented than it is combat. I mean, you fight a lot of monsters here, but as you can see, you have to use the Dragon Claw and use your Mega Grenades to, like, remove all the riffraff and all that good stuff. But if you go to the right over here, you can actually get the best shield in the game, the Aegis Shield. Now, the Aegis Shield, it gives Benjamin 14 defense, 14 evasion, it boosts the speed plus 5, it resists paralysis, but most importantly, resists the petrify status. So now Benjamin cannot get petrified anymore. He can still get fatally killed. So I'm just showing off all the items here, full item list, full spell book, full armor list. Just kind of showing all the different, you know, armors there. And a full weapon catalog as well. Look at the Dragon Claw with all its status ailments. And just like that, I'm going to edit and we're going to rate the Skullorus Rex. Skullorus Rex is kind of interesting. He has 10,000 HP. He is undead, so he's susceptible to cure and life spells. He's also weak to the exit spell, which I tried using on him, but unfortunately I missed on the very first attempt. He's not immune to any status ailments, including petrify and the fatal spell. Which means if you actually use the Dragon Claw with Benjamin, you actually have a chance to outright kill the monster. Oh, I killed him right there next. Maybe it was the next boss. I can't remember what it was, but you see what I'm saying. You can just use the exit spell on him and the next boss, which is the Stone Golem, which is a palette swap of the Ice Golem. As you can see, all the File 4 come back. It's kind of strange because the Skullorus Rex and Stone Golem have less HP than some of the bosses we fought recently. Like, Pazuzu had more HP. How much did he have? 25,000 HP. Strangely, his reincarnation has only 20,000 health. But we'll get to that later. Wonder why they're a little bit weaker, health-wise. Maybe just because, why bother? But I have no idea. So here's the ice area. I actually went the wrong way when I was doing this, and, excuse me, I'm going to edit out the, my failed attempts of going the wrong direction and just kind of go back to where it is. But as right there, it was like, oh, I forgot to go to that door, so you had to go hit the switch or whatever, go back over there. But I actually went through the whole level, and then I realized I forgot to hit the switch on the far right, so I just kind of did that edit right there to see with the transition. We're just going to go over here and get this. Because of this, I actually don't have to edit out any of the battles and random encounters because, well, they're already fought. So it's going to look like this floor almost has, like, barely any fights to go through. So that's just how that goes, I guess. As you can see, or probably guess, each floor is kind of like, I wouldn't say a reimagining, but it's kind of like going through the dungeons again. So I just went through the sand or the desert dungeon. Now I'm going through the ice pyramid dungeon again. As you can tell by the tiles, all the tile, what do you call it, tile sets. The next level you can imagine will be kind of like a volcano area, and then it'll be kind of like a Pazuzu's Tower kind of room. But unlike Pazuzu's Tower, that level is actually kind of interesting. Plus it plays this awesome music, and not that shitty Pazuzu's Tower music that I just absolutely hate. So as you can see, I already hit all the switches as I went the wrong way and just edited out all the parts where I was just kind of failing. It doesn't really make sense to kind of go through it and only to realize, oh, I forgot to hit this switch, and then edit that part back in. So I figured, well, we don't really, I'm going to be editing out all the fights anyway, so it doesn't really matter what's going on. So here's poor Benjamin just trying to get across whatever he has. And here's the Stone Golem flexing his pecs at Benjamin, as you can see. The Stone Golem has 10,000 HP, strong against earth and fire, unlike his ice counterpart where he's weak to fire. He's also weak to the exit spell. Maybe weak isn't the right word, susceptible to the exit spell. I'm not sure if it's based off a status ailment or something. It's kind of a strange thing, but it doesn't really matter that much. Just have Phoebe cast white on everybody and they'll eventually die. But of course, exit just missed on the Stone Golem on that attempt, so we just have Phoebe cast white again, but well, I guess I can't have... Looks like Benjamin died there, so we'll have to revive him, so that's just how it goes sometimes. So let's go revive poor Benjamin. Hopefully Phoebe doesn't get... Of course, she gets confused and then shoots the golem with her bow and arrow, which you think would do almost no damage. Confusion's one of the worst status effects in the game. It's just, you lose control of your character and they just cast random spells and often kill each other. It's just annoying, but that's just how it goes. Also, the stone golem is quite strong here. I just leave Phoebe on auto so she can just auto heal, basically. And there we go, exit works perfectly, so that's awesome. And then there's, kind of cool they designed these dungeons. So how you get back, there's like a one-way track to get back, just taking the hooks with a dragon claw. So, you know, just, you know, charge across, and there, before you know it, we're already at the bottom. And there's that one shadow monster that, it's called a shadow, that's just kind of goofing around here. Now, again, I went the wrong direction, so I just kind of edit the part where I kind of go around. So you're really not missing much with me just, like, not going, just kind of getting lost in here for a little bit. So I just go kind of straight to the boss here. This boss is the twin-head wyvern, or wyvern, however you want to pronounce it. He has 15,000 HP. He's strong against fire, go figure, so flare would not be very effective against him. He is weak to water and wind. And I tried showing off a glitch here with Phoebe. She normally does not have the arrow spell in her spell book. But if you cast if you put her on auto and she's out of wizard spells, sometimes she'll cast the arrow spell if it's probably if the monster's weak to it or something. But I tried testing this out, but I could not get it to work. This is the 1.1 version of the game, so I wonder if they patched that out of the game or something. I'm not really sure. Regardless, she did not cast arrow. I thought it'd be kind of funny just to, you know, just show off that glitch. But instead, I kind of fumble around for a little bit and have her just kind of do whatever. So it's not that big of a deal. This boss is not really that hard. Actually, he's probably the hardest out of the reincarnations, the Vile 4. But that's really not saying much. He's pretty easy, so... He's strong to flare, as you can see, so I'm going to just use different spells. Probably arrow, and I think white's a pretty good spell on him, since white's not elemental. Fun fact, the white spell is actually the holy spell. But, so why do they call it white? Well, back in the 90s, Nintendo of America had a strong... censorship when it came to religious symbols for some reason, just because I guess they didn't want to cause offense to people. So because of that, they call the holy spell in this game white, and they did the same thing in Final Fantasy VI. That spell, the holy spell, is actually called Pearl in that game. I don't know what they called it in Final Fantasy V, since that was never technically released to the States. They probably called it holy in later iterations of when it was released to the States. And I haven't played Final Fantasy IV enough to really know if they had a holy spell. They probably did. I think Rydia was the white mage in that game, and she most likely had like a white spell or a pearl or whatever they call it, holy or something. So, but unfortunately, I just don't know because I never really played that game. Personally, I never really liked Final Fantasy IV. I know some people love it, and that's fine. I always just found it like it's just a series of misfortunes in that game. Because every time you go do something... The last boss will just, like, every time you enter a crystal room to get a crystal, the last boss will just show up and steal it. And then if he doesn't steal it, then, like, you'll be like, oh, I get the crystal, but you can't, like, use the exit spell to get out of the dungeon, so you have to walk back. And then, right when you get to the beginning of the dungeon, you know, the entrance, then somehow the last boss comes in and steals it again. And then, eventually the last boss gets all the crystals, and then you go to the underworld to find the dark crystals, or whatever they're called. But then, again, the same exact crap happens. The last boss just shows up at the last second and steals everything. And then before you know it, you have like all 8 crystals are given to the last boss, and then you just have to fight the last boss. There's even a part I remember where you go through, like, there's like a giant golem or something, or statue, and all the crystals are just kind of sitting there on a platform, and you walk over to them, but like just like in a Looney Tunes cartoon, you just fall through a trap door and go right to the very beginning of the dungeon. Then you go back and tell everyone that you failed. Like I said, the game is just nothing more than a series of misfortunes. So there you go, you don't have to go play Final Fantasy IV, because I just summed up the entire experience of that game for you. It also had the character Bard, or not Edge, not Tella, what the hell is that guy's name? There was like a wimpy Bard character in that game that his special ability is to run away, and you can just already tell how great he was. I forgot what his name is because he's that unimportant. But I don't know why I'm talking about Final Fantasy IV so much. I'm talking about... Let's get back to Mystic Quest, shall we? Anyway, this is the Pazuzu's Tower area. I think you can actually fall down on those if you like kind of walk off the edge or whatever it is. So try not to do that, and you go back down to the fire area. So It's just a big waste of time, so try not to do that. It is quite... I mean, you have to kind of purposely do that, so just don't do that. It's the best way to do that. The best thing to do is just avoid it. So this level's a little confusing, but somehow I got through it probably the easiest and like least amount of time compared to the other areas. I actually don't edit out any of the footage of me traversing to Pazuzu, which you can see right there. Actually, I went the wrong way there. We just go right over here, so I take that back. And then, yeah, so, I don't know, it's Pazuzu's Tower, but you don't have to listen to that god-awful Pazuzu's theme song or Mount Gale theme song, so it's not bad. Maybe if they just changed the music on Pazuzu's Tower to something different, I probably would have enjoyed that level a little bit more, but even if they did, I don't think I would have enjoyed it anyway, because it is Pazuzu's Tower. It's the worst level in any Final Fantasy game, bar none. I'd like to think of a different game that's worse, but this is Zu or Zuh. It's spelled Z-U-H, I don't really know how you pronounce it. He has 20,000 HP. He's strong against Earth, because he's a flying monster. And he's weak to wind and the shoot ability, which is great because Phoebe, while she doesn't have the arrow spell, she does have the shoot or bow attack. So she can just kind of take down the monster. But for now, I just have her cast white on all the monsters, so because the Thanatos and the Chimeras are not weak or strong against white, so she'll be able to kind of handle it. I cast whatever is arrow on the Chimera because I know it's weak to it and just outright kill it. Poor Phoebe gets killed here, so I gotta go and cast life on her before it's too late, so... Ouch, that sky attack almost gave me the business, so good thing we got her turn there. I probably should have realistically equipped the Excalibur to get that +5 speed, so I had, like, you know, just a little bit more... you know, probably could have got Benjamin to go a little bit sooner, but it doesn't really matter. I put Phoebe on auto just because I knew that since Benjamin died, just have her automatically just, you know, heal and cure Benjamin for the most part. And since, I don't know why the Zuh or the Zoo or whatever, like... It randomly does its Psych Shield attack, which does very minimal damage. As you saw, it does 1 damage. At one point, it actually crits on Phoebe and does a massive 2 damage. So, for most of the fight, I just have her on auto, so if either of us get hurt, she can just heal them automatically. And since her bow is strong against the Zoo or Zuh or whatever his name is, it doesn't really matter if he puts a Psych... There's critical hit right there. It doesn't really matter if he puts his Psych Shield up where I can't cast any spells without getting rebounded back. So now I just switch back to my Excalibur, but now I don't have to because the Psych Shield's down, so I can just switch back to Flare, give him the business, and then we'll be okay. We'll see, the Excalibur does a pretty good amount of damage, 765 or whatever that was, so about 750, about 3/4,000. Can't complain there. She unfortunately, or he, I don't know what it is, she or he kills Phoebe here, but then it's not that big of a deal. We can just revive her. See, now I actually was smart and put the Excalibur on, and it actually gave me enough speed to outmaneuver Zuh here, but unfortunately I don't think he had much to do because he was putting his Psychic Shield up, and I think the game programs him to always put the Psychic Shield up at the very end of when Phoebe and Benjamin go, so that way you don't, like, you know, cast a spell and then he puts it up right away and only have it rebound and kill you, because that wouldn't be very fair now, would it? And it wouldn't really be very fair. Like I said, this is the only boss with strategy, and I use that term loosely, but that's okay. Not a very hard boss. He is a kind of a fun boss, though, I will say, because of the strategy. Again, I use that term loosely. Anyway, just keep casting Flare and have Phoebe use her bow on him. And before you know it, he'll go down to his 3rd form. Remember, this boss doesn't have 4 forms just because his 4th form is used in his animation when he puts his Psychic Shield up, which he's doing right there with his wings out. Seems like every time he switches battle stances, he automatically casts a Psychic Shield to give him a little, you know, extra whatever. There was a little pile driver on Phoebe there, but I return the favor by giving Excalibur right to his wings. Even though Phoebe does more damage with her bow, just because it's super effective. And it is what it is. Anyway, we'll just, you know, have her cast Cure on everyone automatically. It's quite fast, quite quick to do that. And before you know it, he's dead. I will not bore you with the tedious walk back, so I just kind of edit it right back there, so that's cool. So now we're at the very top of Doom Castle. And what do we see up here? Why, it's a room of gold, of course, and who's that? It's a statue of Benjamin. Now, I always found this kind of strange, like, you get the prophecies told here with the crystals, they entrust their power to you, and as far as I can tell, all their power does is unlock if you saw those, like, barriers, they go away, and all that their power does is it opens up these 4 chests that contain a whopping 25 arrows, 25 cure potions, 25 heal potions, and 25 seeds. That's all the power that the crystals of the earth, water, wind, and fire do. They just give you 25 of a resource. Even though most of the time you probably have like almost full inventory, but the game really wanted you to succeed in fighting the last boss. And I'm going to cheese the last boss because I wanted this to be kind of humorous for anyone that's not familiar with this. So this is the Dark King. He is the strongest monster in the game. He's immune to every single status ailment. He's strong against water, earth, and wind. And he also has the largest battle sprite of any monster. As you see him, he'll take up probably half the upper region of the thing, but then he'll get much wider as the game progresses, but we don't have to worry about that. He has 40,000 HP, and due to a bug with how cure is calculated, as you see here, I do a whopping 19,936 damage to him, but I should not have had Phoebe attack, because then when I do cure again, it accidentally cures him properly instead of doing whatever, just because of the way the thing worked for 21,000, so I basically did nothing there. So I just cast cure again, defend with Phoebe. So why does this work? Well, there's the calculation for cure as follows. You take your max HP of the target, and you take the product of the spell power plus your magic power times 1.5 and divide all of that by 100. So, Benjamin has a magic stat of 44. The cure power, spell power is 50, and HP is 40,000. So 40,000 times 40... Let's see, what is this? 40,000 times 116 over 100 gives you a total of 46,400. And because the game does the damages in signed bytes, which I'll link to that in the description how that kind of works, basically you take 65,536, which is 2 to the 16th power, which is 2 bytes of data, and you subtract 46,400, and you get a total of 19,136 damage. And that's what you deal with the king. So normally you should heal the person with that, but because of the way overflows work or whatever in signed integers in the computer science realm, you actually go from healing, so from like the positive values, which is the first 32,000 value and the 16-bit number, over into the negatives, which is the upper region of that, which is how that kind of works. It's a mouthful. I'll put a description or some links in the description on some basic computer science. It's just how the calculation works, but you don't have to worry about that because I just have to cast cure twice and the guy's dead. It's probably one of the most famous bugs in this game, and it's also kind of the most humorous. And just like that, we're at the end of this story, if you want to say that. It's, again, not much of a story. Just Benjamin going to all the towns and saying, if you see this person, tell him I said hi. That's literally the extent of this amazing story in this game. But just like that, I'm probably going to just leave it there and allow you guys to enjoy the rest of this, in quotes, story. So, again, thank you very much for watching this playthrough. If you enjoyed this play series, I would really appreciate it if you gave a like and a subscribe to my channel, and we'll see what the next YouTube series is. So thank you. Have a good one.